Science!
Science!
Well, hell, let's talk about some cards. Bunch of new cards came out today in the reveal stream with Day 9 and crap, I can't remember the other guy who was there, but he was awesome and they did a great job. They talked about a whole bunch of new stuff coming out in Knights of the Frozen Throne, so let's just go for it. Let's just go through these bad boys. Frost Lich Jaina. This is the second Death Knight hero card we've seen. For 9 mana, you're going to gain 5 armor. And you're also going to get a 3/6 water elemental on the board. And all of your elementals from that point on will have lifesteal. And it also gives you a new hero power. That hero power is basically the mage hero power. Ping for 1 damage. But if it kills the minion, you get yourself a 3/6 water elemental, which at that point will have lifesteal. So kind of infinite generating of water elementals while dealing damage, if you can maneuver things to be able to kill stuff with the ping, right? So you'll have to hit stuff down to 1. Your opponent can potentially play around it by not playing 1 health minions, sacking minions with 1 health, and then you will have to figure out a way to get them down to 1. But I think at that point, that's something that you will be able to do. So this card kind of ends up giving you inevitability when you play it, right? Like you get to a point in the game where you bust this thing down onto the board, and then you're just probably going to win from that position if you can get there. So a lot of it kind of feels like, to me, it feels like Jiraxis, right? Like it's really hard to get the board state to a Jiraxis spot. And also Jiraxis knocks you down to 15. And you aren't a mage, so you can't have Ice Block up. So to be honest, I think this is easier to play than Jiraxis. It doesn't give you inevitability as fast as Jiraxis does, because Jiraxis is obviously just throwing 6/6s onto the board. But once you do get it onto the board, and you're healing for at least 3 a turn because of your water elementals, I think it just takes longer than Jiraxis. You still just win. So, yeah, I don't, Dallinger, he's saying, couldn't this cost 6 or 7? I think this is OP as hell at 6 or 7. I think it's actually balanced at 9. This should be very hard to play. But think of what mages can do to set this up. You can Blizzard Doomsayer on turn 8. And if they can't get rid of the Doomsayer, you have a fresh board on turn 9 where you play a 3/6, give yourself 5 armor, and set up this, like, inevitability going forward. That's not that hard for a mage. And it's not that hard to have Ice Block up. So, to me, it's like, and then, of course, the deck that you're going to build around this card is going to be running, like, Flame Strikes and all the board clears you can imagine, all the removal you can imagine. And it's just going to win by doing this. Now, it will be very powerful at that point. Will it be better than just playing Freeze Mage and just Pyroblasting your opponent? I don't know. That's really the question here. And Cheryl will take, I just don't think it'll be useful in late game. It will be very useful in late game. People always talk about that as if once you reach turn 10, nobody's playing anything but gigantic minions onto the board, and that's just not true. On turn 10, people still have their 2-drops and stuff in their hand and their deck they didn't play earlier. Mages still have ways to deal the rest of the damage and then ping something. And then, of course, having all of your elementals deal damage and give you health back as you're creating more elementals for free. Yeah, and they're water elementals. They're freezing the opponent's minions. So even if they're not killing them, they're freezing them. You're not taking face damage. Like, it's kind of inevitability at this point. So I think it's actually pretty good. I think a lot of people are looking at it in a vacuum. Not for, like, what it can do, but for what they think it would do now, right? And I think that there's a lot of potential here. You're gonna have to build a deck for it. The question is that better than Freeze Mage? I don't know. Oh yeah, here's the hero power. If this kills a minion, summon the water elemental. Yeah. So it's still like one of the best hero powers in the game, right? Already Mage Ping is one of the best hero powers in the game. So, and Mage Ping doesn't get worse as the game goes on. It's still really good at like turn 8, 9, 10. I don't think you actually make a Mage Elemental deck. You have some elementals in it, but I don't think you fill your deck with elementals. I think you fill your deck with removal and control elements. So, you know, you'll still have like you'll still have Meteor, you'll still have Flame Strike, you'll still have Blizzard, Frost Nova, Doomsayer, you'll still have Fireballs, Frost Bolts, you'll still have Firelands Portals. Like they play stuff and you kill it all game long, and then you just set up to do this. So, alright, Spreading Plague. 5 mana druid card, summon a 1/5 Scarab with Taunt. If your opponent has more minions, cast this again. So basically, it evens up the board in minions, right? So if they have 7 and you have 0, you'll have 7 1/5 taunts at the end. So it's a hell of a lot of really weak taunt minions with a lot of health, though. But yeah, I think this card is, if the taunt druid is a thing, this card will be part of it. It's also really interesting because it is a very good tool to just play in like big druid, just to help you survive till you get to the really big minions, right? Have we heard how Spreading Plague will work with our Lord Yogg mechanics? I don't know if we have. I don't know if it counts as more than one. I mean, it says cast this again, but I guess it would have to be you casting it again, because Yogg doesn't count its own spells, right? So if it counts it as Spreading Plague casting it again, then no. But if it's counted as you casting it again, then yes. That would basically be how I would expect it to work, but I don't think I know 100% yet. This is an interesting card because it does. I actually don't think so. There's the new Druid Legendary. Let's see if we can find that guy. Hadronox, 9 mana, 3/7 that death rattles. It doesn't battle cry. It death rattles. So it has to be played and then it has to die, and it doesn't have taunt, by the way. So that's an expensive 3/7 that your opponent could just ignore. So I don't think this card is actually going to make Taunt Druid a thing. Your opponent can just ignore it. It's only attacking for 3 a turn. So this card, I think, is kind of garbage. So I actually don't think, like when people are talking about like, oh yeah, this Hadronox goes really well with this Spreading Plague, I actually think Spreading Plague is just better for like Big Druid, right? Because Big Druid tries to ramp, and then once it gets to the late game, then it just can't lose because it just plays gigantic minion after gigantic minion. The problem that Big Druid has is sometimes they just get overrun by a bunch of little bastards and they can't do anything about it. But if you could just put a stop to all that by playing 5 1/5 taunt minions on turn 5 or turn 4 technically, because you're I would assume the scarabs are beasts too. Yes, I would assume, but I don't think that's gonna matter too much. Because I don't think you'll play this in like a beast druid, but it's possible. It's possible. Maybe there's some other tools out there. But just to me, it just seems like a great defensive tool. It's like, you know, if you played ramp druid back in the day, you always played sludge belcher, right? So here's just like stop all your little bros, put up a wall of like 20 health worth of taunts, and allow you to get into your late game plan. That's where it seems more viable to me. Dead Man's Hand. Shuffle a copy of your hand into your deck. All right, so you're doing nothing the turn you play this. Let's just make sure that that's established. The turn you play this, you are doing absolutely nothing. You are spending 2 mana to affect nothing that turn. Hey, it's Joss. What's up, Joss? So that's important to note. That being said, if your deck is built around a fatigue strategy, putting more of those fatigue strategy cards into your deck can't be that bad, right? So I don't know. I think this is only good if there's a really solid deck that just tries to outlast you card-wise and fatigue you out, right? And we have seen that in the past in Warrior, so this is not like a completely illogical thing. Like, this could definitely be a thing. Hold on, let me do this real quick. Let me spread it out so that it's not cutting off there. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible that that deck is viable. But I'm not going to say good or bad. It's great if that deck is good. This card is totally awesome if that's a good deck. If that's a deck that never does anything, I don't think you play this in just like a control warrior. You know what I mean? You know it'd be super fun though. Here's okay, but let me hip you to the fun factor though. You go into wild, you play golden monkey warrior, you fill your hand full of legendaries, and then you dead man's hand. Well, you can't do it though anyway. You can't because it turns into a legendary. Never mind. Can't do it. Can't do it. There's no fun. You can't even have fun with the card. I think it sucks. Maybe there's a card where you can find this with the... No, you can't do it. Damn it. I'm trying to find the fun, and it's not there. That would be the fun, though, right? But you can't do it. Although you could throw your hand in before you make legendaries, and then you have your hand plus now a bunch more in your deck, and now those become legendaries. Okay, there you go. That's the way to do it. Prince Valanar. Here's one of the other one of the other shitty princesses or princes. Excuse me. If they were princesses, they'd have to be better because the princes are all just garbage. 4 mana, 4/4 battle cry. If your deck has no 4-cost cards, gain life, steal, and taunt. What? What? That's not even that good. Like you have to take out all the 4-cost cards of your deck or have drawn them. And then all you get is a stupid 4/4 with life, steal, and taunt. Come on, man. Yo, time jumper. I don't have my things turned on, but I'll do the thing in just a second. 12 months in a row. Here's the other problem with Prince Valanar. You are going to get this off of whatchamacallit, Sindragosa sometimes, you know? So, like, whether or not these are hot garbage, they're legendaries, and they will now, any way that finds you random legendaries, you're going to end up with these sometimes. So they will sometimes come into play. It'll be interesting. There might be times where you're drafting an arena, and you don't have, like, maybe you have barely any 4s, and then you can take this card, and then it might be okay. That kind of stuff is going to happen, but as far as constructed play, I'm not seeing, like, the triple Prince deck. Although, you know what? I'm going to try to make it, just for the hell of it. It's not going to be good. The Doomed Apprentice, 3 mana, 3/2, so terrible stat-wise, but your opponent's spells cost 1 more. I mean, obviously, that could be useful, for sure. It's weird that they gave this to a mage, to me. Seems like, I mean, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, like, this is the Sorcerer's, or whatever, Sorcerer's Apprentice reversal. So, sure. It'll be useful. I feel like this is an arena card more than a constructed card, though. Mage is usually built around playing their own game plan, not really denying yours. So, yeah, I don't know. Just not quite seeing it. Not quite seeing it. Does that mean cards left in the deck or the full deck? Yeah, I see you. So just to make sure you guys are clear, yeah, if you draw your 4-cost cards and you have no more 4-cost cards in your deck, it will have this effect. So you could potentially play this and some other 4-drops. Similarly to you could play Reno and have some duplicates, and you just hope that you would draw the duplicates before you play Reno. Unless you were playing like a mill deck that drew a whole bunch. That wasn't very good either, so yeah. Doomed Apprentice, don't think is going to be a card you're going to see much in Constructed. But I think it'll be a fine card in Arena. It's weakly statted, but, you know, with the increase in spells and stuff, it's going to be like a middling card in Arena, but that's where you'll most likely see it. It just won't be... It's not going to be a good card there either. It's just going to be a whatever card, you know? Because in Arena, people on turn 3 and 4 and 5, they just want to play minions. They're not necessarily going to want to be, you know, using spells on yours. So you're not going to even get use out of this until later. So it's just going to be kind of like a middle-of-the-road thing. But sometimes, like, you actually see the 2/2 that makes minions cost more sometimes in Arena, but you don't see it in Constructed. This card I friggin' love. Eternal Servitude. 4 mana priest card. Discover a friendly minion that died this game and summon it. So, On turn 3, you play your Injured Blade Master, and then on turn 4, if it's dead, you bring it back as the 4/7. That's awesome. I actually predicted a card very similar to this when I was on Value Town. I can't remember exactly what I called it and all that kind of stuff, but it was very simple. It cost 4 mana, and it was basically discover a minion. Apparently, we haven't even seen the best target for this spell. Really? Okay. Well, we already know of the existing ones that are pretty good. Unfortunately, I don't think we have... We still have Onyx Bishop or whatever, but I don't think we have Resurrect anymore. Is that right? But still, like in Wild, you could make a crazy-ass Resurrect Priest, which would be kind of fun. Of course, also, if you're playing Quest Priest, this could be bringing back Death Rattle minions, right? So if you're playing really good Death Rattle minions, because that's summon, so yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Yo, Zarek, thanks for the Twitch Prime sub, man. I appreciate that. I'll give you a dance after we're done card reviewing because the things aren't turned on. I love this card. I love the ability to pull something out of your graveyard and then have control over that. I actually would love to see. I would love to see this card. Though I think the one I designed was 4 mana. Pick a minion from your opponent's deck, summon it. Or discover a minion from your opponent's deck. And I thought that was going to be a pretty good card too. And that kind of fits what Priest does also, right? So, oh, there's something there. I think there's something there. Maybe, okay, so I'm guessing, Jocelyn, maybe the picture of this minion, maybe this minion is going to be something else that we're going to see? Some sort of a wraith of some sort? All right. It definitely feels like this is going to make several Priest archetypes better all at once. So I love it. I'm into it. Murabbi! This is a shaman legendary minion. 6 mana, 4/4, so pretty bad stats. But whenever another minion is frozen, add a copy of it to your hand. So this card can act like... we have a card. It's a 6 mana, 4/4. It's called Gadgetzan Auctioneer. And it draws cards from your deck. The beauty of that card, though, is that it draws you into win conditions, right? This card is going to require the minions to be on the board. Then you use a freeze spell or some sort of freeze type mechanic onto it. And then you get that card back. And it's always a minion and never a spell because it's only... You have to copy or you have to freeze a minion. Now, you can freeze opponent's minions. You can freeze your own minions. You get them. The thing is, you're going to freeze opponent's minions more often. It's going to be easier, at least it seems that way, to do that. I know we have Cryostasis, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Actually, I should probably just show you that card if you don't know about it. 2 mana shaman spell, give a minion +3/+3 and freeze it. So you could buff your own minions, and if you have Murabbi on the board, then you get another one. But I don't think this card is actually going to be very good. I think it's worse than Auctioneer. It's worse than Auctioneer. But it's not hot trash. Like, it's not just a piece of garbage. It's got something in there. There's something in there. Whether that something actually is viable or not is going to depend on what the rest of the meta does and all that kind of stuff. So, this is a wait-and-see card. This is definitely a wait-and-see card. It feels bad to me on the surface. But does that necessarily mean that it's bad? No, I don't think so. We've been proven wrong many times in the past. By there's more like poo rabbi, am I right? I'll show myself. No, you can stay. You can stick around. I like that one. I enjoy that one. I like a good dad joke every now and then. So yeah, we thought Lyra was trash, right? And Lyra turned out to be fine. Maybe there's something there too. Miracle Shaman. Miracle Freeze Shaman. Incoming. So Cryostasis, let's take Cryostasis, notwithstanding its synergies with Murabbi. Cryostasis, it's weird because you can attack with your minions first and then freeze them, so you still get the attack, but then it stays frozen for the entire turn. And then you buff it. So the example used on the stream was like, well, you could buff a big taunt minion, and then it's hard for them to get through. And it's like, well, yeah, you could. But should you? Just because you could doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be a good thing to do. So I don't know. Like this, again, if Murabbi's in your deck, you're probably playing stuff like Cryostasis just because of, whatever. Could this bring back Big Game Hunter and you put, Cryostasis on things and then you Big Game Hunter? It just feels like there's too many things that this card is asking you to do, especially in a class that has Hex just built in. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not into it. But I will say this, though. I love this idea more than I loved, and I just talked about this because we just played a game where I got Galaka Crawlered on turn 1, and it's just stupid that not only do you get a buff, but you also kill a minion, and you don't get the buff unless you kill the minion, so it's either gigantic swing or bad card, and that's stupid card design. I really like the theme we're seeing in this expansion, which is very Lich King-y, that power always has a drawback. Right? So you get great power, but you have to pay a price for it. Isn't that cool? Doesn't that feel pretty Lich King-y? He gets to wield the greatest blade of all. He gets Frostborn, and then, but also, you also turn into an evil asshole at the same time, and you have to kill your own father, and you can't have it all, my friend. You can't have it all. So anyway, there's something there. Kind of cool. Defile. This card is badass. This card is super badass. 2 mana. And I was wondering how they were going to introduce Defile into the game, by the way, because I knew it was going to be a card. It had to be. 2 mana. Warlock spell. Deal 1 damage to all minions. So already we're talking Arcane Explosion. Except, Arcane Explosion that hits your board, right? But whatever. Right? Whatever. 2, deal 1 damage to all minions. If any die, cast this again. Alright, so. This card is going to, just destroy Aggro Druid, right? It's going to, stop Aggro Druid in its path. So, yeah, okay. I'll bring up the fact that it caused a nerf to Dreadsteed. Now, that nerf to Dreadsteed didn't actually come up very often, but it is technically still a nerf to Dreadsteed. Dreadsteed is still going to do what Dreadsteed did, which is just you're always going to have your Dreadsteeds to give you those extra pings. My Dreadsteed Warlock Reno deck is still going to kind of be as powerful as it always was. But it makes sense that they had to change it for this card to exist, and I'd rather that they made Defile than keep Dreadsteed exactly the same and just make this one broken interaction. So anyway, the way that it works. Oh, and again, I don't think that these are going to count as casting the spell over and over again for Yogg, because there's the other card that does it too, Spreading Plague, right? I don't think either one of these are going to work that way. I'm going to guess it counts as 1 cast. So deal 1 to all minions if any die, cast this again. So you're going to have all sorts of situations where you're going to try to make attacks to get things set up to wipe boards. It's going to wipe a lot of aggro boards. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be a staple in any control warlock. Obviously, if you're a zoo warlock, you don't want this card because you're going to kill your own damn minions. So, yeah, okay. So what happened to Dreadsteed is now it summons the Dreadsteed at the end of the turn rather than instantly resummoning it. That being said, the only times when that really came up as, an effective thing was against, Knife Juggalos, right? Outside of that, what did it really do? You could use your own Knife Juggalo and be killing off your Dreadsteeds, and then they come back and you get another ping, but that very rarely, this is a super edge case, and it's not oh, Dreadsteed sucks now. Dreadsteed's still fine. Dreadsteed's still whatever Dreadsteed was, right? Still totally fine. I think that it's worth it to get Defile, because Defile's awesome. And also, let's be honest, Dreadsteed wasn't it was all over the place anyway. That's a meme card at best. So trust me, I played a lot of Dreadsteed Warlock. That card is not something that's worth not making Defile. Anyway, Defile, really good card. Super good card. Shadow Blade. Here's the here's our rogue weapon, which is why they which is why they broke Blade Flurry, right? This is the reason, I guess. Blade. See, if we're talking Dreadsteed died for Defile, fair enough. But if Blade Flurry died for Shadow Blade, not so good. Anyway, it's a fine weapon because people, you know, if you think about it, you play. I think this will see play in a tempo rogue. In a rogue deck that doesn't even play Assassin's Blade. Assassin's Blade is just like, for 5 mana, you only get the 3 damage that turn. But on turn 3, 3 damage is going to be a lot more relevant. And also, you don't take the damage on the first swing, so it's like, it's technically almost like a weapon that's healing you a little bit, and then the second swing, you know, you take the damage, but still. And we've seen that people are playing 3 mana, 3/2 weapons. Just because that's the only option they have on turn 3, and you know, like hunters would play Eaglehorn bows, even in decks that they weren't running secrets in. So, yeah, I think this is fine. A totally fine card. I do wish that Blade Flurry would either, like, I wish they would reverse half the nerf. Either let it deal damage to the face again and still cost 4, or make it cost 2 again and still break your weapon and deal damage to only the board. One or the other. Or if they're worried about that, make it 3 and do the thing without the face. Like, I don't know. I wish that card, I wish Rogue had a board clear, is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, Shadow Blade, there has to be a Rogue deck that's like a tempo-based Rogue deck. However, because of all the new tools that allow them to just murder things really easily, Venom Weapon and Vile Spine Slayer, that's very likely going to be a thing again, I think. Snow Flipper Penguin. All right, we have our tiny fin of the set. So cute. Yep, little penguin on an iceberg. Sweet. You're gonna tie this together with other things when you're building your beasts, when you're making your zombies. But outside of that, whatever. It's, you know. Oh, damn. Joss is throwing shade at the Snow Flipper. You haven't even seen the golden one yet, right? So you don't know. It doesn't... Is it missing the tiny sword? Did they need to give it a tiny sword? Yeah, I guess the lack of tiny sword is probably a problem here, right? All right. Yeah, there's not much to say about that card. It's, you know, it's a 0 mana 1/1. It'll... Sometimes you'll get it from random beast things, and that's how it's going to ever happen. Howling Commander, a 3 mana 2/2 battlecry, draw a Divine Shield minion from your deck. Now, it's very clear that they're trying to shove Paladin towards a Divine Shield type of archetype. I don't think that's what's going to happen, though, but I do think what's going to happen is you're going to play this in your deck so that you can pull your Tyrion whenever you want. Because Tyrion's super good. You're going to put it in your deck so you can pull your Wicker Flame Burn Bristle. But outside of that, I don't know. I would see... probably just like a one-of, right? In like a Control Paladin type deck thing. Maybe all these Paladin Divine Shield cards all come together and make a thing. I don't know. Seems unlikely. But just the ability to just grab your Tyrion out of your deck whenever you want, that seems pretty solid and worth a slot as just a one-of, right? Because right now Paladins are already running 2 pretty powerful Divine Shield minions, and so the ability to make sure you get those when you want them. One of the things like Hearthstone, I love this mechanic, by the way. I love the idea to be able to pull specific cards from your deck. I love it in Magic. In Magic, you can like literally search your deck for a specific card type, pull it out. Sometimes it's any card. You pay a big price in the drawback because you pay more mana for the body, or it's the spell that just does that. That kind of stuff is really good, though. It's great. It allows you to create combo decks and things that rely on specific cards. Then they actually happen. Like that game plan actually plays out. So here we go. Hearthstone. Getting a little bit more of that. And the fact that it's fairly cheap, too, right? Like we had the 6 mana 4/6 that pulled out a 10 mana thing if it was alive at the beginning of next turn. This is like cheap enough that you'll actually play it, right? Venom Strike Trap. Got a new hunter trap. Secret: when one of your minions is attacked, summon a 2/3 poisonous cobra. So bear trap, but with a cobra. That's more useful. Because a cobra kills anything. This will probably see some play. Yeah, I could definitely see this. First of all, the card art gives me goddamn nightmares. But yeah, yes, this is a decent card. The bear trap, like that's a worse minion. Now the fact is that the Emperor Cobra is not like a card that actually sees play in constructed. But if you're adding charges to an eagle horn bow, if you are playing this for free with Cloaked Huntress, any of those types of things, then suddenly that becomes much better, right? So, and obviously, like, you get a 3-mana 2/3 minion for 2 mana this way, although it has to get procced. But this is going to happen. Is also another secret that you're going to have to think about when you're playing against Hunter, because now it's like, okay, if I attack face, it's this. If I attack minions, it's this. If I attack at all, it's this. If I play a minion, it's this, right? That's what you want from secrets. You want them to cause the opponent to play in a way that they didn't want to, right? Suboptimal play because they're concerned about the secret. I think it's an okay card. This is a totally fair okay card. Dig it. Sanguine Reveler. 1 mana 1/1. Destroy a friendly minion and gain +2/+2. So 1 mana 3/3. And you could be playing eggs. You could be playing the Devilsaur egg, and then you could kill it. You get a 5/5 and a 3/3 for 4 mana. Okay. 2 cards, 4 mana. Not bad. You can also, in Wild, do a lot of crazy stuff with this, obviously, because of Implosion. You can be making things big with Power Overwhelming and then killing them off before you get no value out of them. This is a card that's okay. Now, we'll see if they have enough tools to really make like a zoo-style Egglock thing like a reality, because right now they only have this and they have the Pterodox, right? And that's not enough yet. And they also don't have enough ways, like Possessed Villager is obviously a great minion that you can kill off and not have too much of a drawback. But you need to be able to generate tokens fairly easily, right? And they don't have things like Primal Fin Totem and stuff. So we'll see if there's other token generating methods out there and mechanics that Warlock can utilize to make this really good. But there's something here. A 1 mana 3/3, if you can kill off a 1/1 that's already done something, sure. Or if you can kill off an egg that then does something else, awesome. Totally. Nerubian Egg is like even better than the other one though for this, by the way. Just because it's cheaper and it's only 1/1 less. Fluffy Fiery Warrior. 1 mana 1/3, whenever you play a minion, deal 1 damage to it. So we're going to need to see a lot more enragey style things. But right just off the top of my head, obviously, Patron. You make 1 more Patron the turn you play it. This is wild, obviously. But Acolyte of Pain. That's pretty good. Although Acolyte of Pain, you're probably talking about a Control Warrior, and you probably don't really want a 1 mana 1/3 in your Control Warrior. So this is going to work in some sort of an Enraged style deck. Obviously, you could play this and then Gromish, but like you could already 1 mana Whirlwind Gromish. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if that's actually the correct translation of the card name either. It seems weird, right? Seems very strange. But either way, I don't think this card is actually that good just if you look at the cards we currently know about. Now, if a whole bunch of new cards get added, then absolutely. And they all have really cool enrage effects, then totally. But yeah, I had a bad title up that entire time. But I don't know. I don't see it as being an incredibly powerful card in a vacuum. So give us some more enraged stuff, and maybe we got something. Maybe we got something. Hell, I guess I might as well keep going through these. Bone Mare, 7 mana, 5/5. Neutral, common, battle cry, give a friendly minion +4/+4 and taunt. I don't think this is a constructed card. But damn, is this card going to be super good in Arena. That's kind of what everybody's thinking. And they're right. This is going to be an amazing Arena card. It's going to be amazing when you have it, and it's going to suck so much when the other guy has it, by the way. But if you think about like what it does in Constructed, yeah, that's just how the Bone Mare one, because this one they pulled off of a screenshot. It was played in a game. So we don't have like these are all, yeah, we got like a sweet screenshot of it, but this one, yeah. So sorry, it's tiny. It's not, I didn't make it tiny. But yeah, so if you think about like if you were playing a Paladin and then on turn 9, you know, you can make a dude and then play a Bone Mare and then you have a 5/5 with taunt and a 5/5. That's not actually that good. Does 9 mana for 2 5/5s. You could do better. So I'm not sure that we'll see this ever in Constructed, but maybe there's some sort of a tempo deck that this is like their high end. It's possible, but I think mostly this is like there's always like Arena cards printed in every set. North Sea Kraken, that was a huge example of that. Messiah in the chat saying it's actually called Animated Berserker. Well, that would make a lot more sense, huh? It sure looks like an animated Berserker. All right. Corpse Taker. Here's a card a lot of people are calling broken, and I think is totally just fine and fair. It's a 4 mana 3/3 battle cry. Gain taunt if your deck has a taunt minion. Repeat for Divine Shield, Lifesteal, and Wind Fury. So notice you don't get charge, which if you could also get charge, then you really got something here. But this forces you to build a deck that contains minions with all these things in it. So all these keywords have to be in your deck, and you have to not have drawn them before you drew your Corpse Taker, so they have to still be in your deck. Similar to like Reno, that they have to be no duplicates in your current deck. So Corpse Taker, all these minions with these keywords have to all still be in your deck when you actually play Corpse Taker. So even if you get best case scenario, you get a 4 mana 3/3 with Taunt, Divine Shield, Lifesteal, Wind Fury. The turn it's played, it's still really just a Silvermoon Guardian. Or a 1 mana +1/+1 onto a Wicker Flame Burn Bristle. Because I don't think the Wind Fury is going to happen as often as people might think. So if you're playing Paladin and you want to get Wind Fury in your deck, you're just going to have to put a Wind Fury card into your deck. And what Wind Fury card are you putting into your Paladin deck? You ain't putting any more. No, none of the current Wind Fury cards are going to go into your Paladin deck. Not on purpose, right? So, most likely in Paladin, you're just going to play Wicker Flame Burn Bristle, and then you're just going to hope that this is another, like then you have 3 Wicker Flame Burn Bristles, right? But you're going to, again, have to draw this before that. But you'll also have Tyrion, so it'll at least have Taunt and Divine Shield. Thrallmar Farseer? Yeah, you're not putting Thrallmar Farseer in your deck just so you can get this guy to have Wind Fury. Hell no. You're not going to make your deck infinitely weaker by putting in Thrallmar Farseer just so you can get this guy. That'd be terrible. Now, however, Shaman can just play Alakir, right? So Shaman has an opportunity to maybe play this card and take advantage because they get the Taunt, the Divine Shield, and the Wind Fury all in one card. And I think the Wind Fury is really what makes this card maybe really good. The Lifesteal, there might be a Lifesteal Shaman card that we don't know about yet that's going to be really cool. So that's probably where it goes. But I'm not seeing this, and in any other class, I'm not seeing people just put in a bunch of really bad minions to try to make this minion really good. Because even at its best, it's still not like some game-breaking card, right? So Yeah, Wicker Flame is definitely getting the lifesteal card text. They've already confirmed that. Yep. So I don't know. Corpse Taker, I think, is getting a little overblown. A lot of people thought this card is insane. I think it's just a fine, fair card that actually may or may not see very much play. So, not too concerned about that card. I think it's a good card. I like the design of it. I think it's great. This is a very cool card. Light's Sorrow. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, gain +1 attack. So 4 mana weapon that has 4 charges could be really good if you can reliably get it to like 3 or 4 attack. I mean, 4 attack, it's broken as hell. 3 attack, it's a 1 mana cheaper Assassin's Blade, right? But think about how hard it's going to be to actually get it to 3 attack the turn you play it. Especially if you're trying to play it like on turn 4. You're going to have 2 Divine Shield minions on the board that still have Divine Shield. And then they're going to have to run into things and lose their Divine Shield. This doesn't actually remove the Divine Shield from the minion itself, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Again, fair card, but might be closer to Poisoned Blade than, you know, some broken ass than Death's Bite or something, right? That's just completely broken. I don't think this card is again, like if the Divine Shield Paladin thing happens, I'll be very surprised, but it's possible. However, I think this card is okay. Totally fair. I think we're seeing a lot similar to I think what we saw in Ungoro. They're making like good cards that have interesting synergies, but they're not putting in broken cards, right? Blood Knight removes all Divine Shields. Oh, so I'll have to wait till turn 7 and have a bunch of Divine Shields on the board and then play Blood Knight plus Light Sorrow. Oh, okay. Oh, well then, yeah, this card's completely broken then. I'm sorry. That one synergy does not make this card broken. Like, that's not going to happen as often as you think it's going to happen. Bubble Pally could be a thing in Wild. I could see that. Also, in Wild, you have more ability to abuse things like the Steward of Darkshire, right? Because there's more ways to generate a bunch of tokens. So, again, it's a totally fair card, and it's fine. It's like people look at a card like this sometimes and go like, "Holy crap, Divine Shield Pally," and it's like, nah, it's gonna be fine. It's not hot. It's again not hot garbage, not totally broken. Just a fair card. Bolvar Fireblood, Divine Shield, 5 mana, 1/7. It's a Paladin legendary. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, so again, same basic mechanic as this. Gain +2 attack. So there's an interesting thing here where you might look at this card and say, well, it's not good based on its text. But what does make it okay is it's a 5 mana minion with Divine Shield and 7 health. And that's going to be really hard to get rid of. So if you're looking for a way to ensure that you have a target for your Spiked Ridge Steed, well, here it is, right? So you play this on 5, they can't kill it, and then on 6, you put a Spiked Ridge Steed on it, and, you know, at least you have a 3/13, right? Does that work if he's in your hand or deck? No. If you read the old Bolvar text, he actually, the card itself says, if it's in your hand. This reads like every other minion that does things when it's on the board. Like Cthulhu specifically states wherever he is. This card does not say wherever he is. So he has to be on the board, then the Divine Shields have to lose. Or they have to get popped, then he gains the +2. That being said, I mean, you could get him onto the board and then put a Spiked Ridge Steed on him, make him a really sticky minion, and then start playing Divine Shield minions. If his own Divine Shield pops, he becomes a 3/7, right? So, you know, again, totally fair card. Might actually do stuff, but not totally broken. But I don't think total trash. I think a lot of people are calling it total trash. I think there's a little more to this card than total trash. Abomination Archer, 7 mana, 6/7, Hunter, Epic with a Death Rattle. Summon a random friendly beast that died this game. So this card's actually okay. It's a very good arena card, I think, for Hunter. It's like pay 1 extra mana for a Boulder Fist Ogre. And then when the Boulder Fist Ogre dies, you get another minion on the board, right? So, again, sticky minion. Sticky minions are pretty sweet. Also, it is a death rattle, so if you want to play a N'Zoth Hunter, you could be bringing back this guy. And bringing back 6/7s later with your N'Zoth is a lot better than what you currently do, right? So, you know, go Savannah Highmane into this bad boy. Sometimes he brings back a Savannah Highmane. Holy crap. That's pretty good. Unfortunately, sometimes he'll also bring back a 1/1. But, you know, I think this is an okay card. I think if you're talking like a... Let's think about the Zombies, too, by the way. Let's think about the Zombies deck. You're playing like a control style that wants to make it to the late game, and then you want to be able to play, you know, big, burly minions and close the game out. An Abomination Archer might fit into that deck. So, you know, he's, again, like a totally fair card. Costs a lot, but does a lot, if you think about it. So, potentially does a whole lot. Maybe sometimes doesn't do so much. But unless that deck is actually really good and constructed, this is probably more like an arena card. Fate Spinner. This is a really cool card. I don't know if it's good, but it's very cool. 5 mana, 5/3. Choose a death rattle secretly, so the opponent doesn't know which one you choose. One of the death rattle, or one of the choices is deal 3 damage to all minions. The other option is give them all 2/2, and this is friendly and enemy minions. So you might think, like in most cases, the opponent's going to know exactly what you choose here, right? Because if there's a bunch of minions on the board, then you're obviously choosing the deal 3, right? But maybe there's situations where you can mind games people. This is a card, I'm going to have to play with this card to really kind of understand its implications. And how it's going to feel to play against and everything like that. We've never seen anything like this in Hearthstone yet. It's a minion with a secret kind of thrown in there. It's very cool. It's very, very cool. It, again, to me, doesn't feel overpowered at all. Doesn't feel broken. Feels fair. I'm into it. I'm into it. I think it's a cool card. I like it. Plus, you know, you have to pay a 5 mana for a 5/3 body. So... I want to see more stuff like this, though. I think this makes the druid mechanic a lot more interesting. And I'd like to see more stuff where we see more like mid-range style bluff druid type of thing start to come out. That'd be pretty sweet. It's almost like throwing secrets into other classes, you know? Hadronox, 9 mana, 3/7 legendary druid. Beast. It is a beast. Death Rattle. Summon your taunt minions that died this game. So, Death Rattle... N'Zoth style effect for taunt minions. There's some really good taunt minions out there, obviously. The problem is, like, N'Zoth battle cries and just does it. So, like, on turn 10, you just play N'Zoth and then bam, full ass board, right? Hadronox, you're gonna have to play on turn 9, and then he has to die, and he's only a 3/7. And also the 7 health means he's probably not going to die. And the 3 attack means he's not a big threat. So your opponent can just ignore him for a while. And just keep going face and just say, okay, screw your Hadronox, I don't care. I'm going to go face until you can find a way to kill off your own Hadronox. And then you'll get all your taunt minions back. But I'm not scared of your 3 damage a turn right now. So I don't know, dude. I don't think this is actually that strong, but it is definitely something I will mess with. I will try this card. You think this will be the new druid deck to beat, huh? I don't think so. I really don't think so. But I think that it will be out there. I think people will play it. Yeah, the problem is that he doesn't have taunt himself. Yeah. So you just kind of ignore his ass. And then it's going to take at least 2 turns for a druid opponent to kill it off, running it into your minions, right? So, yeah, I think it's just not it's not broken and it's not. But I also don't think it's complete trash. I just think, you know, it's a little bit. And in Wild, actually, there could be really cool stuff where you're playing a bunch of interesting taunt minions on the way, like Sludge Belchers and stuff. So, I'm curious to know how this will work with with Ancient of War? Does it come back as a 5/10 with taunt? Or does it come back as a 5/5? I don't know. You could naturalize them, but is that really a good play to naturalize your own minion? I don't think so. I don't think that's a good play. Yeah, you could Defender of Argus him. You could, you know, play the 2-mana, 2/3 dude that does it, right? It would come back as a 5/10? Okay. I don't know. Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know. We gotta have some science. And if that's the case, you don't even play Ancient of War in this deck, right? You'd play Bog Creeper instead. You'd play Bog Creeper. You'd play the 6-mana 5/7 Arakoa, Dark Arakoa. You'd play those cards. So, but yeah, no, you could. I mean, you could definitely give a Hadronox taunt if you wanted to. But again, you wouldn't be able to do it on the same turn you play it. So, anyway, interesting card. Bear Shark, 3-mana 4/3. It's a beast. It's a bear and a shark. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. So, yeah, I mean, a sticky 4/3. It's aggressively statted. This will be all over Arena for hunters. They're gonna love playing this card and then just smashing your face a few times. That said, is it definitely good enough to play in Constructed Hunter? I don't know. It feels like it's not terrible. It's not something, you know, I mean, Fairy Dragon saw play in Dragon Warrior, right? As just a good 2-drop that also enabled some things. So if Bear Shark can hit the board on 3 and then reliably not die, then obviously Hound Mastering your Bear Shark on turn 4 is going to be pretty sick, right? Because now you suddenly have a 6/5 that you can't use a spell on. I'm glad that it's a 4/3 too, because, you know, that's Hunter minions should be statted like that. They really should. Not being able to give it taunt on turn 4 sucks. Yeah, that's not a spell. Houndmaster's a battle cry, so you totally can do that. You play this on 3, Houndmastered on 4, bam. That's pretty sick. And hunters don't really rely on buffing their own minions, right? So it's totally fine to place these. Like, one of the reasons you never see Fairy Dragon in, say, a priest deck is can't heal it, you know. So you might be able to make some sort of a curator hunter, right? Fairy Dragons and Bear Sharks, oh my. Interesting. Voodoo Hexer, 5-mana 2/7 shaman rare card with taunt, and a text freeze any character damaged by this minion. This is really good. This card is really good. Even without, take away the Icebreaker weapon, which I haven't talked about yet, but I think a lot of people know about. Icebreaker, shaman weapon, destroy any frozen minion. Take that away. Just put this card can go into a vacuum, and you're like, yeah, that's still really good. Because, you know, a 7 health taunt minion is going to be hard to get through. It's going to give you time. So if you're playing a control shaman, it's the card that's going to give you time. If they have to run a bunch of minions or their face into it, then all those things will be frozen on the next turn, and it's essentially buying you time. And if time is what you're looking for, then Voodoo Hexer gives it to you. So even if you're not playing the freeze shaman, if you're just looking to play control shaman, Voodoo Hexer is Hex gonna give it to you. Yeah, it's gonna give you time. It's a good card, man. It's really good. This card also works super well with Murabbi, right? So there you go. Let's see. Yeah, this is one of the better cards we've seen. This is one of the better cards we've seen. Bring it on. 2 mana, gain 10 armor, reduce the cost of minions in your opponent's hand by 2. This is actually a really, I like the design a lot of this card, because again, it's like gaining 10 armor for 2 mana that's a lot, man. That's a lot of health to gain. And so it's like an OP card if you just look at that part. And then you go, but what must I give up for this power? Well, you're going to make your opponent's hand... You're going to essentially add Innervate to every single card in your opponent's hand that's a minion, by the way. So, if you're playing a Control Warrior or something like that, you know, you don't have to play this on 2. Obviously, you'd never play this on 2. What you'd do is you would wait you'd wait it out. You'd wait till your opponent's hand has been depleted a little bit, and then you'd play this card. And sometimes you might play this card even if your opponent's not depleted, because you just need the 10 health right now to not die. And then maybe they dump their whole hand, and then you brawl next turn. So there's some stuff. There's some stuff you could do with this card. The one thing I will say, though, is 2 mana gain 10 armor. In a situation where you've already run them out of stuff, you've probably already won the game. You probably don't need 2 mana gain 10. So you got to think about those types. You got to think about how actually the game is playing out. And if I'm playing Control Warrior and I've already run you out of stuff, then yeah, aren't I already winning? Aren't I gonna win probably? And like, is a two mana gain 10 gonna be the key to my victory, or is it gonna be some other card? Probably, most likely, you've already won the game. So it's in a way, this could just be like a win more card. That doesn't really matter. So we'll have to see. It's one we're gonna have to play with. Mage minion, 3 mana 3/4 common. Battle cry: if an enemy is frozen, draw a card. So the problem with this card is that if the point is you're drawing cards, and you're playing a deck that's trying to draw a lot of cards, and the deck you're probably playing that in is a freeze mage, you probably still just want an Acolyte of Pain, because the board doesn't really matter. And the most you're ever getting out of this card is 1, right? You're only going to ever get 1 card out of this. So, you know, that means that in that type of deck, in the freeze mage deck, it's probably not going to be played. In the non-freeze mage deck, say some sort of a tempo minion-based mage deck, the only real freeze options you're going to be running in that deck are going to be Frostbolts. So it's pretty unreliable that you're ever going to actually draw a card with it. A 3 mana 3/4 is obviously fine stats, but yeah, if you're I don't know. Is a 3 mana 3/4 that most of the time does nothing gonna be that great? I mean, sure, yeah, okay, Water Ellie, but that's it's not gonna be on the board until turn 4. So you're saying you're not gonna play this on turn 3, so you can wait until your Water Ellie's out on turn 4, and then you're gonna play this on turn 5. It's like, again, you gotta think about how the game plays out, right? When you really evaluate these cards. So this is another like wait and see card. Because yeah, if you Frostbolt something on turn 2, it's not still frozen on turn 3, so you don't get the card. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a weird card for where it's like, if this was a 5 mana 4/5 or something, or a 5 mana 5/5, if an enemy was frozen, draw a card, that could be really interesting. But so it's like there's not currently a deck that utilizes this. So we'll have to see what decks come out before we can really say. That being said, I think you're going to see this all the time in Arena, because a 3 mana 3/4 is just going to be fine. What if your own minion is frozen? No, it says enemy minion on the card. If an enemy minion is frozen. Yeah, in Wild you can play it with Snow Chugger, true. But a lot of times Snow Chugger is dead on turn 3. Well, a lot of times. So it's yeah. It's a card that's like, it's like a 3 mana 3/4 that actually is meant to be played on like turn 8 or 9. And so again, if you're trying to play a 3 mana card that draws you cards, you're going to be playing Acolyte of Pain still. So Sindragosa. It would work if the hero, yeah, if the enemy hero is frozen. It says enemy, so any enemy character. It just can't be your own minions. You can't have your own minions frozen. It has to be enemy minions. Sindragosa. 8 mana 8/8 dragon. Legendary for Mage. Battlecry summon 2 0/1 frozen champions. Now the frozen champions are just 0/1s. They don't have taunt. So you will have to find a way to kill them off yourself. You could do that by either pinging them, or you could somehow buff them and then make them attack, able to attack. Obviously, mages don't play a lot of buffs. So unless you're playing like Defender of Argus or Abusive Sergeant or something like that. This card is not OP as hell. In fact, it might be terrible. 8 mana, 8/8 is actually not generally good enough for constructed play. And 2 random legendaries are not necessarily that good either. Especially when each one of them is likely going to cost you 2 mana to get. So sometimes it could be insane, obviously. But sometimes it's not going to be very good. Now, that being said, the flavor of it is perfect, right? Like Sindragosa making little 0/1 frozen dudes. Like when you fought Sindragosa and one of your guys turned into a little frozen block of ice and then you had to hide behind him for the frost breath, all that kind of stuff, right? So it's very cool. But, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting point, Midnight Bomber. It does give you a 0/1 minion to ping after you've become Frost Lich Jaina. So there's that, you know. There is that. But and if you're I don't know, like again, it's a fair card. I'm glad that they're making cards like this. I don't want more Dr. Booms, right? I want Sindragosas. This is better. I like this. Don't give me a whole bunch of OP crap. You know what I mean? But the problem that I have with it, you know, sometimes you're gonna get like Sindragosa, and then you're gonna ping a frozen champion, and here comes Sindragosa again. And that's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be super fun. Oh damn! What did I just do? I moved some stuff around. There we go. And then sometimes you're gonna ping your little dude, and out's gonna pop like a Prince Valanar, and you're gonna be sad. So, you know, or out's gonna pop like the Lore Walker Cho or a Nat the Dark Fisher, and you're gonna be sad. So just be aware of that. Remember that this card could be insane, and it could also just be you know, not so hot. You could play an 8 mana 8/8, and then they just kill it, and then you ping it, and then you spend 2 mana pinging the guy, and then you get a crap legendary, and you're like, damn it. And then you lose the game because you spent all this time playing a Sindragosa, right? So, like, if I play an 8 mana Sindragosa, and then they hex it, and then I spend my next turn, like, pinging one of my frozen champions, and I get a crap legendary, and meanwhile, they're continuing to build the board and, like, go face, I might just lose the game because of that. So, just gotta remember that. Dills, don't give me much OP stuff. Blizzard, wish granted. But that's good, right? We don't want OP stuff. We don't want more Undertakers and Dr. Booms and all that crap. We want stuff like this. Stuff that actually creates interesting back and forth gameplay. All right, Leeching Poison. It's a 2 mana spell for rogues. And it reads, pretty much do nothing. And no one play me. Yeah, give your weapon lifesteal. Why does it not even buff your weapon? I don't get it. So there's you know, there's a deadly poison card for 1 mana. I can pay 1 mana, and I can buff my weapon +2 attack. I can make my dagger into a 3 attack weapon. But for 2 mana, so you're telling me I could do that for 1 mana, but you got a deal for me. For 2 mana, I could turn your 1/2 dagger into a 1/2 dagger that heals you for 2. Man, how could you pass that up? I don't think the other weapon is going to make this worth it either, because you're paying 3 mana for a 3/2 weapon. And then you pay 2 mana to make that heal you for 6. So I don't know. If you poison your blade and kill an 8/8, will you get 8 with this? You mean if you envenom weapon? I don't think so, because you've actually technically only dealt 1 damage. It's just the 1 damage killed the minion. So it would, I think, heal you for 1. I don't see how it would heal you for 8 just because you killed something with 1 damage. That doesn't make sense. Like when you hit it, it still says that you dealt 1 damage. Like a little 1 pops up, not an 8. I really don't think that it would ever work that way. I can't see why it would work that way. Yeah, you'll take 8, and then you'll heal for 1. So you'll only take 7. Oh my god. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, this card is absolute trash. We'll never see play. Unless there's something else we don't know about. Yeah, Rogue needs healing, but this was not the way to give it to him. The Ghastly Conjurer, 4 mana, 2/6 mage card, battle cry, add a mirror image spell to your hand. Might be good if it works with Blade Flurry. Well, if Blade Flurry doesn't work with Poisonous, with Envenom Weapon, then I don't see why it would work with Lifesteal. And Blade Flurry, you'd have to put Blade Flurry into your deck too. So, you know, I know you guys are trying. You're trying to find ways to make this card okay, but it's just not. It's just not okay. So Ghastly Conjure, I could see actually being very good in Quest Mage. Right? Because the problem that Quest Mage has is they need to generate the cards, but they also need to take time they need to take the time to like not die and get to the quest, right? So yeah, here's a free mirror image. So and a 2/6 body, and guess what a mirror image also does? It stalls the game. So I get a spell that wasn't in my deck that stalls the game for longer, and it's cheap as hell, and it gets me there. Hell yeah. I love it. Blade Flurry drinking game initiated. Uh-oh. I don't know what that game, I don't know what that drinking game is. Is that when you say Fury instead of Flurry? Yo, Barthol, thanks for the Twitch Prime love, my friend. Because the card is definitely called Blade Flurry. Worth putting in a wild deck with Flamewaker? Yeah, it could be. It definitely could be. I think there's something there. Flamewaker, you know, one of the things that you want with Flamewaker is just to generate a bunch of cheap spells, right? So, anytime someone tries to make Blade Flurry good again. Ah, yes, I see. That's a good game, actually. I like that game. But, you know, just talking standard, I think this card does have a spot in the meta. Obviously, too, making mirror images could be really good for Archmage Antonidas, right? So, we've got a few tools now to create cheap spells. So, there's like another one. So, I think it's Quest. This is going to be a Quest Mage card most of the time. I think that's really where it belongs. And I think it will be an okay card in Arena, too. 4 mana 2/6 isn't the worst stat line. So, obviously, it's better to play a 3/6 that freezes minions, but you don't always get that option in Arena. So, here you go. Let's see. We're going old school here. Professor Putricide. These are cards all the way back from July 25th. This is a 4 mana 5/4 Hunter Legendary. After you play a secret, put a random Hunter secret onto the battlefield. All right, so this is awesome. This is like Mad Scientist if Mad Scientist was a fair card. But Mad Scientist was a card you played on 2, and then you just got the secret for free when it died. This card you have to play either on 3 or on 4 when you have a Cloaked Huntress already alive, right? Or you have to play it on turn 6 alongside a secret. So even though you're getting one free secret, you still have to play the secret before it, and that's pretty cool. Why is this a Hunter Legendary? Lore BS? That is weird. I never looked at Professor Putricide and thought, Hunter. That being said, when I used to fight this boss, being a hunter was very useful. I was always kiting slimes back and forth, you know, and doing tons and tons of damage to the guy. So maybe that's why? I don't know. Should be a neutral, huh? Ugh. Dude, if this was a neutral card, that would create some issues, I think. I think this was probably made a hunter card for balance reasons more than lore reasons. Being a holy pally was useful? No, look, trust me, you weren't as useful as I was. Dirty slime kiter. Dude, I was the best at it, man. Them slimes never hit me. They'd get all the way by me. Then I would disengage. It was badass. But yeah, I think we're probably looking more for balance reasons why this card is a hunter card rather than lore reasons. If it was neutral, it would be really, really friggin' good in Mage, right? So, yeah. I think it's a good card. I think it's fair. And I think if this brings back some kind of a secret hunter list, that'd be pretty fun. Mountain Fire Armor. 3 mana, 4/3, warrior minion. It's a rare. Death Rattle. If it's your opponent's turn, gain 6 armor. That is weird, man. So, I don't know about this card. I think this card kind of sucks. A 3 mana, 4/3 is statted aggressively. A Death Rattle means that you're using it to trade. It can only happen on your opponent's turn, so your opponent has to kill it, so you're not using it to trade. Wait a minute. So I gotta wait for my opponent to kill it? So you're telling me I should be going face, and then eventually I'm going to gain 6 armor? What? I don't know. Just everything about this card feels weird, right? You're always going to go face with it to try to actually get the value. Do you ever play, like, do you play this in an aggro warrior just to, like, give you a little bit of, like, yeah, better? Okay, but if it's better in like an aggro mirror, they're probably playing it too, and then you're just canceling each other out, and then it's like, who draws this first? And then it's not even that good. I don't know. And it's not even good, because usually on turn 3, you're still trying to fight for the board in an aggro mirror. You're not just rushing face. So I think this card is just pretty bad. I don't think it's going to see play. You'll pick it in Arena just because a 3 mana 4/3 is okay. But yeah, I don't think this sees play in Constructed. Other non-warrior aggro, but even then, even against non-warrior aggro, you're still fighting for the board on turn 3. I would much rather just play a Frothing Berserker on turn 3 than play a Mountain Fire Armor. So yeah, I don't think it takes up any of the 3 slots. I'd rather play a Bloodsail Cultist than a Mountain Fire Armor. I don't see it seeing play. Nerubian Unraveler. 6 mana, 5/5. Spells cost 2 more. We talked about this on the Angry Chicken a little bit. And it is cool. It's not as good as Lotheb, but Lotheb was like super good. Super ultra good. I think you see play in mid-range weapon-based classes where you're just trying to protect the board, right? And obviously, if like Mage is burning you out is a problem, here's a possible counter to that. And I like this as the counter, as opposed to 6 mana 5/5, counter the next spell. If you counter a spell, gain 4. Like, no, stop printing cards like that, please. No more no more Galakas, no more Hungry Crabs, no more Spell Eaters. None of that shit where not only does it kill the thing, it also gets buffed, and then you just win the game. No more. This is fine. This is how you should be doing it right here. The Nerubian Unraveler. It hurts your opponent. You have a deck built where it doesn't hurt you as much, and that's how you get it. You're not also gaining some insane buff while you're, like, making spells suck. You know what I mean? This is fine. It's a good card for very specific styles of decks. And it's a card that can be dealt with. You could still fireball this card. Your fireball would just cost 6. So you would have paid 6, and then I would have paid 6 to kill it. So totally fair card, right? Yeah. Yeah. All right, Prince Taldaram. This is another one of the shit princes. Sorry, the blood princes. Whatever. Okay. 3 mana, 3/3. Battle Cry. If your deck has no 3-cost cards, transform into a 3/3 copy of a minion. All right, so yeah. That sucks. Again, though, people are looking for weird ways to make this work. I've seen Blood of the Ancient One innervate Prince Taldaram. Get a 30/30 on turn 9. Or turn 10. Watch, we were all wrong about the princes, and this ends up wrecking on ladder. Yeah. His card just, oh man, it's just such a drawback to build a deck that has no curve, early curve. Like what if these minions were 6/6s, 7/7s, and 8/8s, and they said if you have no other 6-cost cards, and then they had a cool effect, oh my god, that would be super good. But they're forcing you to take out all your early game, right? To do the things that they do. And that's not good. That's just not good. So yeah, this card blows. Yeah, I don't know. It's again though, it's like I think they just don't want to make some broken ass stuff, and I get it. That's fine. Blood Razor is a 4-mana warrior weapon. It's a 2/2. So 2 attack, 2 durability, has a battle cry and death rattle, so it gives you 2 whirlwinds for the price of 4. I don't know. You get essentially like you pay for like a 4-mana 3/2 weapon almost that does potentially more damage. So I think we're gonna have to see again if there's lots and lots of enragey stuff, because the animated the fluffy fiery warrior, the animated berserker. Kind of fits into this too. So here's a whole bunch more whirlwind effects for warrior. Here we go. We got some stuff going, I guess. Very cool. And again, fair card. All right. So apparently Kibler thinks that Blood Queen Lanethel is insanely good. 5 mana, 1/6 lifesteal, has +1 attack for each card you've discarded this game. Few reasons why I think Kibler is wrong, but look, if he's right, fair enough. First of all, I think he's wrong because discard lock still sucks. I don't see this card all of a sudden making discard lock viable. The problem with discard lock is not that that you're dying and need some healing. The problem is that to ever get the quest to pop, you have to play a control strategy. But to play the control strategy, you just run out of cards because you're discarding them, and you have no way to replenish outside of your life tap. And you're only replenishing 1 card a turn, and sometimes you're discarding 2 cards a turn, and it just math doesn't add up, and the power that you're getting back for discarding cards isn't enough, and all of a sudden you're dead before you ever start to actually gain the quest. And then you have to pay 5 mana for the quest when you actually get it done. So we need some more stuff. And so the reason I'm going to hold off judgment in a vacuum currently with what we know about discard lock, this card is garbage. If we get some cards that say, discover a card you've discarded and play it, put it onto the battlefield. If we get something like that, if we get some more ways to replenish your hand, if we get some more ways to gain benefits off of the discard effect, a la silverware golems, then there's something to this card. But yeah, also you can just discard this card too, right? Which would just be a tragedy. So yeah, it's just not enough really to make discard good. And also, you could just play it and then they kill it and then it never even gets its lifesteal effect, right? So like I could pay 5 mana after having discarded 4 cards, and then a mage just fireballs it. I'm like, damn, that sucks. Or, a shaman hexes it, or a rogue vile spine slayers it, or, you know what I mean? So it's like, you wanted to have done something before it then died. And you also need discard to somehow become good. Icebreaker, we talked about freezing shaman before, 3 mana, 1/3 weapon. If the freeze shaman effect is actually strong enough, this is one of the things that's going to make it go. Absolutely. I mean, killing 3 minions. You do take some face damage, but you've got Jinyu Water Speaker and all kinds of different ways to gain health as a shaman. So it's very possible that this is a card that actually does make shaman go, hi, buddy. Can you get down for me? Thank you. It's very possible this card is going to make freeze shaman a thing, because killing 3 minions for 3 mana, regardless of the face damage you take, is very powerful. That's like super powerful. Would it be better if it was 7 health? It would. It would definitely be better if it was 7 health, Joss. I think you're talking about Blood Queen, right? Because a 5 mana blank 7, right, with lifesteal would definitely be good. It takes it out of range of a lot of removal options, so. But I mean, would the not dying to fireball alone make it playable? Not necessarily, but it's you know, Mage is popular, fireball is a popular card in Mage. There's other ways to kill things with 6 health. And like, let's say you kill something with 6 health, and it would be logical by turn 5 to maybe have discarded 3 cards by then. So you're talking about a 5 mana 4/6 with lifesteal. Do you really think that you're gonna discard like 6 cards by turn 5 and you're gonna be playing a 5 mana 7/6 with lifesteal? Like, I don't think so. I don't think that's gonna happen very often. So, and then obviously you can play it in later games, but also if you are discarding that many cards by turn 5 and you have this in your hand, you're probably you're probably like discarding this card too at some point, right? So it's tricky. And again, there needs to be something else that happens as far as the discard lock to, and if that does happen and discard lock is good, this will be in discard lock, right? Quest discard lock, it will be in there. So, but is it like the thing that makes it go? Not as much. Like, not as much as like Icebreaker when I'm, Icebreaker killing 3 things because you have enough freeze effects for 3 mana is just insane. That's amazing. But this has to be good enough. The deck has to be good enough, right? And then this is going to be one of the best cards in that deck. Plague Scientist, 3 mana 2/3, give a friendly minion poisonous. A lot of people are talking about how, you have to combo it so you can't play it on turn 3. I don't think as a rogue you're trying to play this on turn 3. I think that you're playing this because you're getting like the Envenom, Envenom benefit without taking the damage, and you're also putting a 2/3 into play. So a 2 mana 2/3 is fine, and if I had to pay only 1 more mana to apply Poisonous to something, how is that not very good? Poisonous is one of the best adaptations you can get, right? So a lot of people are trashing this card and saying there's no way this is good enough. It's not your 3-drop. It's a later game kill a bigger minion type of thing. You can pair it with a Stone Tusk Boar or a Patches. Yeah. Will it combo with Knife Juggler and turn him into Assassin? It will. You could also combo with Wild Pyromancer, but I don't think that's really what's going to happen. People talked about that. But you're talking about, first you'd have to play Pyromancer, then you'd have to play Scientist on your Pyromancer, then you'd have to play a spell, which would then kill all the other minions, but would also kill your Pyromancer and your Scientist. So I don't really think that's how it's going to work. But, yeah. But, okay, but imagine like a token generating style tempo rogue that has Vile Spine Slayers, Plague Scientists, maybe has Violet Teachers back in it, generating 1/1 tokens that you then make poisonous. Yeah, could be cool. Tentacle of N'Zoth. The problem with that is, again, you'd have to have Tentacle of N'Zoth on the board. If you really want to talk like what card, like Sergeant Sally. Sergeant Sally would be the card, right? Because you play Sergeant Sally, and then you could make Sergeant Sally have poisonous, and then she deals 1 to the opposing side, not your side. So there's that. I don't think you need to worry about all those things, though. I don't think you need to get a bunch of AoE with this card. I think you build a deck that what Rogue does really well is just kind of controlling the board and building tempo at the same time, right? So SI7 agents and things like that. And then at some point you need to kill a big minion, and now you've got another option to do it. So yeah, that could be cool. I think you got something there. Abomination. Yeah, see, again, though, like, I don't think we need to get hung up on the AoE clears with this. I think this card is going to use most efficiently and most likely and most often, I think, just to kill 1 larger minion. So we don't need to figure out ways to get insane value out of it. Killing 1 big minion and putting a 2/3 into play is actually going to be really good. Ticking Abomination, 4 mana 5/6, neutral, deal 5 damage to your minions. This card is just bad. 4 mana 5/6 is not enough for the drawback of dealing 5 damage to your own minions. You have to fill a deck full of eggs and stuff that you want to kill, and no, just no. You might see this picked in arena sometimes because it's like up against just absolute trash, but like Hungry Dragon was better than this, right? Pit Lord is better than this. I'd rather just deal 5 to my own face one time, which is what Pit Lord does. This kills my whole board. I don't want that. This is a meme card? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's got things are going to evolve and de-evolve into it. Exactly. Prince Kaliseth, 2 mana, 2/2. If your deck has no 2-cost cards, give all minions in your deck +1/+1. So if the effect actually happens, sure. But we've already seen Mistcaller. That never really caught on. So I talked about on the Angry Chicken, the one place that I thought this card might possibly work is Quest Hunter, where you play a whole bunch of 1-drops, but you skip over the 2-drops completely, and you go directly to 3-drops. And what you try to do is you try to mulligan for this, and then you try to buff all those little 1-drops, or you try to hold on to this until you complete the quest, and then when you fill your whole deck with 15 little dudes that draw other dudes, 1 mana 3/2 raptors, they're all 1 mana 4/3 raptors, right? And that's insane. There's 15 of them. It could be something. I don't know. Still feels unlikely. So I think we're gonna say the shit princes are just shit princes. The Chillblade Champion, charge and lifesteal. So here you go. You can heal your Paladin. I don't know. Hand buff Paladin is where this card goes. And there's actually a few other cards in the set that I think are very hand buff Paladin friendly. So yeah, this could be really cool in hand buff Paladin. So if that comes back, we might be really annoyed when 4 mana, 6/5s come out and heal them for 6. So yeah, this could be a thing. It just depends on if hand buff Paladin comes back, because if it doesn't, this card is just garbage on its own. Is Nightbot going off? Oh, it's because there's no Bit Boss showing up right now. Spirit Lash, 2 mana, lifesteal, deal 1 damage to all minions. So you AoE everything for 1, and then you heal up for whatever damage it does. People were all, tons of people were like, oh my god, it could heal for 14. It's like, dude, it's never going to heal for 14. How often, think about your Hearthstone games, think about how often there's 7 minions on both sides of the board. And how many times is dealing 1 damage to all of them actually do anything? Yeah, most of the time, though, this will be really good anti-aggro tech. But right now, with a lot of the other stuff I'm seeing, I'm not seeing a lot of great aggro tools, and I'm seeing a lot of good anti-aggro tools. Aggro might just slowly kind of dissipate. Obviously, there will still be some. I think Pirate Warrior will still definitely be a thing. But I don't know if this is going to make it into priest decks, because I think they still just want other stuff. Although dealing 1 damage to the whole board early on is something that they struggled with, and why they always ran Wild Pyromancers and stuff. So, yeah, we shall see. The Akanai combo. Oh god, who could forget the Akanai combo? Shallow Gravedigger, 3 mana, 3/1 Death Rattle. Add a random Death Rattle minion to your hand. This will be picked in Arena for sure, because it just gets you value. Maybe you could play it in Quest Priest, just because then you don't need as many Death Rattle minions, because you play one and then it gets you another one. Maybe, but probably not. This is probably a pretty trash card. But again, fair. If it was a 3 mana 3/2 that got you that card, maybe it'd be a little bit broken. So, I don't know. And of course, Death Stalker Rexar, we all know about. Deal 2 damage to all enemy minions when you play it, so you get an AoE effect when you play it, which feels very control heavy. 6 mana. So you're going to want to do this on turn 6, while also hopefully having some minions on board to deal with the rest of the damage, because it's maybe not going to kill everything, but it might kill a bunch of stuff. And then you're going to start building your beasts as your late game threats to put the game away. So I think there's something there. We haven't seen enough hunter cards to make me feel like there's definitely a control hunter out there. But again, there's many more cards to come. So it's possible. But it seems really fun. Seems really, really fun. And I'm super excited for that card. I'm also super excited for Frost Lich Jaina. I think these are fantastic cards. to I just love the idea of every class becoming a Death Knight. I know it means we're not getting a 10th class that's Death Knight, but I don't care. I want 9 Death Knights. Give me that all day. I think this is great. I think it's gonna be fantastic. I'm into it, and that's all the cards we know now.